Hello and welcome back to the Dugout. I'm your host, Alexander Cruikshanks, and I'm joined today by Ethan Barlow. And we're going to be previewing Rangers' Europa League match. They're going to Malmö in Sweden. First game of the Europa League. We did a preview for Celtic last week, so we thought it was only right that we did one for Rangers this week. Ethan, first of all, mate, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Strange week with just Europa League on. No Champions League or even Conference League this week. But yeah, I'm be good to speak about the game. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I'm excited. Although probably the Champions League is where Rangers wanted to be and where most fans wanted them to be. It's no secret. We enjoy these Thursday nights. So looking forward to it. But I think we should just dive right in. Rangers go to Sweden to play Malmo, who currently sit top of the Allsvenskan. I think uh, I
That
think I've
sounds right.
I think I've
Sounds
got
right.
that. Allsvenskan, the Swedish top division, by a long way. They're more than halfway through their league season, and it looks like they'll win the league at a canter. But in terms of what Rangers are going to come up against, you know, it's one of the games, Ethan, I'd say that is a must win if Rangers want to progress.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's not going to be an easy game by any stretch, but if you want to be making that top 24, I think looking at Rangers' fixture list, I think this is a game where you'll be looking to pick up maximum points, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. But like you said, though, it's not going to be easy. Um, Malmo are a really good side. They've got a few danger men, and that one in particular is Isaac Kies Thelin, who's their top scorer this season. I think it's 14 goals for him up top, and he's got quite a good partnership with Eric Botheim. Isaac, I'll just call him Isaac from here on because I'm not going to say the whole thing. But he's more of like a target man, you could say, a traditional striker. But Botheim gets involved with the play, plays off of him, and it makes them a really dangerous duo for defenses to deal with.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, he's definitely the danger man. Looking at their recent kind of lineups, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they line up. I think they were playing a 4-4-2. I've seen a lot of it, but they sold. Well, I think they had a record sale actually for Sebastian Nanasi, who went to Strasbourg. He had 21 goals and 18 assists over the last two seasons. And he was the record sale at 10 million. So I think he's going to be a big loss for them. But I think they've been playing more of a kind of 3-4-3 formation with Botheim and Isaac, as you call him. And I don't know who the third player will be in that front three, but I think that'll be maybe how they line up.
Uh, yeah, I don't want to rain on your parade here, Ethan, but I spoke to um, Swedish guy Harry. He runs Allsvenskan Silly on Instagram and Twitter. Give him a follow if you're on there. He got some good stuff. He's got a bigger follow than us, but yeah, he. I spoke to him about the game, and he says against Rangers they will likely play with two strikers. He said along with one or possibly two true wingers, and he says when they go defensive, they'll fall into that 4-4-2 that you mentioned there. Um, if they're, he says if they're allowed to play through the lines, they'll score multiple goals. Rangers will need to have a high and extremely disciplined press, which is something that I don't know if Rangers can do, to be totally honest. They tried it against Celtic and it worked for about 15 minutes. And then it was just destruction from then on out. So, um, yeah, it's definitely, I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited for it. Malmo have, you know, the guy, he actually said that they're a bit different in Europe than they have been in recent years. And we should expect to see something different.
Yeah, the usually Malmo they've been Champions League in the last decade, but they've kind of fallen away, as he said, about the European presence, but back in the Europa League is a good step for them, and they'll be hoping to make some noise as well, like Rangers, and they'll be backing themselves as favourites with Rangers travelling to Sweden.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't want to keep relying on this on Harry, but he did say the feeling in Sweden is Rangers are a tough side, but they should be able to beat them because Malmo are playing quite well this season. Um, but I we'll just talk about Rangers for a little bit. I think 3-0 win against Dundee at the weekend. I thought it was a really good performance personally. I've read a bit of news today though. Oscar Cortez didn't train today, which isn't a good sign. It looks like Rangers have signed another injury-prone player, unfortunately. Um, we've got him on loan for another season, but it's an obligation to buy, I think, for around 4 million. Uh,
Yeah,
which long term wouldn't be great. But yeah, Cortez looks like he's out. So I think the lineup we're probably going to go with is Butland, Jeffy. Oh, he suspended? Is it UEFA competition he's
he will
suspended
be.
from?
He will be. Yeah, I think he will be.
Right, so it's probably going to be Butland, Dujon, Suter, Proper, Tavernier, Barron, Diamande, I'd say Tom Lawrence, Bayrami out on the left, Cherney on the right, and Cyril Dessers through the middle. Um, One concern I have with that side is obviously Dujan Sterling can play anywhere, but Jeffrey has been showing really positive signs. He was excellent against Dundee, so that would be a big loss. And Tom Lawrence, I don't know if he has the legs for this kind of football.
Yeah, you said about how Rangers will need Harry said that they'll need a kind of a good press to kind of uncomfort this Malmo team. Tom Lawrence, whether he's that man, we'll find out. I think, as you said, Dujon starting at left back. He is obviously very versatile, but not having any or two ideal left backs available when Yilmaz and Jeffrey will be a blow.
Yeah, definitely it will be. But I come into this game a bit more optimistic than I would have been 2 weeks ago, but still it's going to be a tough match. But I think Rangers will get the result. I think it'll be tough. Like I said, it'll be a bit scrappy, but I think we'll come away with a 2-1 victory.
Yeah, I think it's a hard one to call. I think both sides are very confident. I think if you seen what the Malmo boss said earlier, Henrik Rydstrom, Malmo posted a video about their Champions League qualifying wins and over Rangers 2011 and 2021, and he said this happened before and it will probably happen again. So
Yeah, they're quite. I've noticed that coming up against them, especially like 2011 was a bit before my time. Like I was like 5 or 6, but in 2021 they're quite a confident side and they don't mind, saying it. So yeah, sorry, I just interrupted you there, but I
no,
thought
no,
I'd
not at all.
jump on that. Continue with what you were saying.
No, that was all I was saying. I was just saying that they seem obviously the manager's got a lot of things to say, and I imagine his players will be the same. They'll feel confident.
Yeah, as they should. They're in really good form. But yeah, I think that's it from us today. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw you over to me interviewing David Marshall from the Heart and Hand Rangers podcast. A wee special interview for you, sort of talking about the Dundee game and previewing the Malmo game. But yeah, throw you over to me. But it's a goodbye from me right now and Ethan. I'm joined by David Marshall who features on the Heart and Hand Rangers podcast. First of all, David, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. It's slightly more cheery after we actually got decent result the weekend, so I'm relatively happy. If you speak to me a couple of weeks back, I don't think I'd been as cheery. So you've got me in a
Yeah,
good day.
yeah, definitely. We'll just talk about the Dundee game at the weekend. Really good result, 3-0. What stood out to you that's different from from the recent performances?
Um, I'm not too sure if it's a case of what's different. What I'd maybe seeing what is things starting to click a wee bit more. I mean, the manager has been saying since the start that we won't see the true form of this Rangers team until about October, November time. Well,
Aye.
we're getting to that point now, so hopefully we'll start seeing improvement. We did play some good stuff at times. I mean, you caveat that with the fact is it is Dundee at home, and you'd expect that to be a comfortable win for Rangers anyway. But I think we have been failing quite a wee bit to even meet that par recently. So to reach that is promising. There's some good stuff there. I'm still taking everything with a wee bit of pinch of salt right now and just taking the
Yeah.
small steps what they are.
Aye. A few individual performances stood out to me, like especially Jeffy at the left back position. What do you make of his game?
I think he started really well at Rangers so far. I think every game he's playing, he's looking a wee bit more promising. He is one of certainly been the standouts of the season so far, which is good for us because that's been a troubled position for us from a while now. You've got Yilmaz in there who's a good player, but simply can't be relied upon. The boy's always injured, and Barisic beforehand. I mean, again, there was a good player there once upon a time, but I think his time at Rangers had just come to an end. So yeah, I think he's very promising. He's exciting going down that left wing, which is something in the past when we have been successful. Something that we've been utilised certainly under Gerrard was the two fullbacks bomb forward. So it's good to see that because I think we have had an over reliance on James Tavernier doing that over the last couple of years, and he's been waning a wee bit. So we don't have that going down the right. We lose a lot for what makes this team effective. So it's good to see. Hopefully he kicks on for here and keeps it going.
Yeah, he looked like he's already sort of formed a decent partnership with Behrami, who also
Mhm.
had a good game. I know he's mentioned himself that he likes his preferred position is the 10, but right now he's being played off the left. What do you make of that? Because it seems to be a theme at Rangers, playing players not in their in their best position, unfortunately. But what do you make of Behrami's start so far?
I've been going to, Ibrox for about 27, 28 years, and we always seem to be sticking players out in the left wing for some reason. That just seems never actually seem to play a left winger on the left wing. But yeah, I would like to see him more in that number 10 role to see, I think certainly from reports before he came to Rangers, that seems to be where he's going to be most effective. But he played well at the weekend there. I don't think he's particularly a speed demon, in the traditional
Yeah,
sense for a winger. But he certainly did well. He's the pass for Dessers' second goal was absolutely sublime. So he did well there. It's good to have that option. And also, we've got Matundo out injured at the moment, so our options on the wing are a bit limited. I would have actually liked to seen us bring in another winger in the window, but we didn't do that. So it's good to have him there. But going forward, I think I would like to see what he can actually do consistently from the number 10 role.
yeah. Speaking of that number 10 role, it might be a bit difficult for him to sort of pry it away from Tom Lawrence, who started to play well. It looks like I know a lot of Rangers fans haven't really been sold on him, but it looks like
Mm.
he's playing closer to the striker and he's sort of coming into his own.
There's a good player in Tom Lawrence. He's capable of doing things that he could do, like the goal he scored against Dundee United, for example. I think for most of the league games that Rangers play, certainly at Ibrox, we should be okay with Tom Lawrence in there. When it gets to the bigger games, again, playing Celtic or going away to Aberdeen at Pittodrie or Hearts at Tynecastle, etc. I don't think he's got the legs, and I think a lot of these games pass him by, to be honest.
Mm.
So that's why, if we've spent this money to bring in a proper number 10, then I would like to see him play. And I think Tom Lawrence will be fine for most games, but it's that if you're relying on a guy like that over the course of the season, then I
Yeah.
think you'll fall short.
Yeah, he's not going to give you 50 games a season, is he? He's
Well, there's
not
that
the
element of
fittest.
it as well, yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned they're going away to big games this week. Rangers go to Sweden to take on Malmö in the Europa League first game.
Mhm.
First of all, just how you feeling going into that game?
Um, I don't know, cautiously optimistic, maybe. I'll be perfectly honest. I really don't know what to expect from Rangers when we play these Europa League games. I think getting put out of the Champions League was, a crushing blow to the season. That's one of the big objectives of the season failed right off the bat.
Yeah.
And that's, and it has a knock-on effect as well. Not getting the money for even getting to the playoff round.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure that halted us in what we could sign for the rest of the window, and I think that was reflected as well in the number of signs we did make after we got knocked out. So this Europa League, it's the new format and everything. That's exciting to be involved with.
Yeah. Couple of tough
There's
games ahead as well.
That's the thing. There's a few games in there that I think you can write off. I've been reading up, and I think the learned thinking suggests that 9 points should see you make it into the next round within those 9 to 16th place teams. So if you're looking that way, I think this is certainly a game that we need to look at winning. Um, can't say I watch a lot of Swedish football, know a lot about Malmö, except for doing my own research. I think they're top of their league now,
Yeah,
going
they're
quite
they're top
well.
by quite a long way, I'm sure.
Yeah, and
So
they're a few more games into their season as well, so they might have that advantage. So also, if you can have such a thing as a bogey team in Europe, I'd say that's probably Malmo for Rangers. And I remember them knocking us out of the Champions League when Alan McCoy was a manager, done the same also a couple of years back when Steven Gerrard was there. So it would be nice to beat them, just to get a wee bit of revenge here. I think we should be looking for a positive result here. If we lose this one, I think it's going to make things quite difficult going forward. Usually, a tradition, if you look at Rangers in these group stages of Europe, we start quite well, then we tend to fade towards the end. Uh, we've bucked that the last couple of years. We've actually started poorly and finished better in the groups. But I don't know. I'd be hoping for a positive result here. I don't know too much about them, but I think if we're going to have any hopes of getting through this group or this league, whatever it is now, we should be looking to at least take something away from this game.
yeah, I think it's those games. That's why it makes the new format so interesting. There's games that you should be looking to get the win from because I'm going to be honest, I don't think Rangers will get anything from Tottenham or Man United. So these games are
No,
really
I'd
the
I'd I'd
ones.
I'd be surprised. I'd be delighted if that was the case. But yeah, I think we can go to them with a wee bit of the pressure off. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah. In terms of the team that are going to be playing against Malmo, what kind of lineup do you think will be in Sweden?
Don't think it's going to be too different from what we've seen at the weekend there. And like we didn't make a great amount of changes from what would be our strongest 11. I think at this point the team's picking itself. The back four, proper Suter, and then Jeffrey and Tavernier the other side. Again, I expect to see a combination of Barron, Diamande. I think Sterling might have played himself out the team at the weekend there. He never
It
had.
wasn't great, was he?
No, he didn't have a great game, but I'm willing to give guys one bad game. I don't think Sterling's had too many bad games for Rangers, but certainly it's an important game coming up, so I can't see him making it. The forward line's possibly a bit more interesting because again, I don't know. For me, if this is a game that you can trust Tom Lawrence playing in that number 10 role, is it a game that might pass him by? I would like to see Barjani starting in the 10 role. It does then, leave the question out. Well, what do you do if the wing there? Do you bring in Ross McCausland in there? I don't think there'll be too many changes, but scope there for the manager to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, in terms of like maybe putting Berame in the 10, and do you think Oscar Cortez is a shout for it starting that left, or do you think he's not fit enough, or what do you think the deal with him right now?
But he's the kind of player because he has picked up these injuries in quite quick succession. Obviously, had the bad one last year that left him out for the majority of the second half of the season. He's came back and got injured at Tynecastle. So personally, I'm always quite cautious with him. I think we still need to see if his body can take it. He has played. I know he played the bounce game during the international break against Motherwell. He's got a few minutes in the game since we've came back. I would be tempted to start in there. I think if it's getting Barjani into that number 10 role, and I think that's something we've got to do. I think Cortez is someone that the manager rates as well. So if you're bringing these players to Rangers, and if you're managing, you rate them, this is a game, the kind of games I've got to start because if you can't trust them in these games, then frankly, they're no use being at Rangers. So I think I would probably agree with that. I would like to see him start, particularly if it allows Barjani move more central.
Yeah. Another question about you said about trusting players to start these big games. There's one man that Clement seems to keep putting his trust in. He has scored 7 goals in 9 games this season, but Cyril Dessers seems to ghost in the big games, quite a lot of the time.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on him and maybe Hamza Igamani could be going for his position this season?
I would like that. Again, I don't feel it's totally fair that for the Rangers support to put all this expectation in a young guy. He's just in the club, just in.
Yeah.
um, just into the country, But we have paid a decent bit of money for him. He's looked promising when he's came on. I would like to see more of him. Dessers is the ultimate enigma. The guy, he does score goals, but he's such an infuriating player to watch. I think at times you look at him when he played at Tannadice the other week.
Yeah.
I thought it was absolutely dreadful. And the ball just kept bouncing off on me. It wasn't holding
Yeah.
up at all.
It's like
He's
his
a couple.
attitude was really poor as well, to be totally honest. The way he just whines to the ref all the time.
I think I think he's just that kind of player. Though I think it's just kind of the way he's
Yeah.
the way he carries himself. I remember, talking to my pals and that who are Rangers fans May this year when the season was finished and you're doing your post-mortem of the season in the pub and whatnot. I remember saying, if we go into this season and Dessers are still our main strikers options, then we're in trouble. We're now in September of this season, going into October, and Dessers is still our main striking option. We've got a guy, Danilo, who we spent, the best part of £6 million on. He's picked up another mystery injury. So again, there's a guy can't be relied on. Our other option is this young guy that we've just brought in that we should be really bleeding in to the team. We shouldn't be having him as a main option right now. So we are stuck with Dessers at this point. He will get you goals. He will infuriate you. And as you said, he has had this record of these big games where he has gone missing. It is what it is, to be honest. You just he is our only option really at this point, so we need to put up with him. You
Mhm.
go into any game with him, you do not know what type of player you're going to get. He could play in Thursday there and score 2 great goals, or he could absolutely infuriate you. Over the course of a season, you can't rely on that. He might be brilliant on Thursday, he might be terrible. I generally couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Just to leave off, well, I want to get your prediction for the game on Thursday, and I want to get your prediction for Rangers' European season.
Oh dear. Right. Predictions for Thursday. I will be positive and say that Rangers will win 2-1 and Dessers will get both the goals because I spent a quite large amount of time running them down. So usually that means he goes on and does good things after that. 2-1 to Rangers on Thursday, going forward for Europe for the rest of the season. If we were to get into the next round, I would um, take that as a win. I don't, from what I've seen from this team so far, I don't think we're built at all for an extended run in Europe this season, unfortunately. So I think if we were to, make it out of the league stage, I think that would be, well, I take it as a win, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see, much surprises in terms of longevity in the competition, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No, no problem.